As you all know, there's a debate raging on the right at the moment in America about whether it's better to keep quiet or just quietly unify with people who are on the alt-right or the far-right. You know, the conspiratorial people, the Candace Owens, the Tucker Carlsons, the Nick Fuentes, and others who are saying, excuse me, that is not conservatism. We have to call this out. And Matt Walsh is one of the advocates of saying, you know, we need to focus our eyes on the left and just, you know, unify as much as we can. But Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee recently discovered an old post of Matt Walsh, which reveals a very different story. Someone put out a tweet saying, "It took just a few weeks of our collective anger and grief to turn into blackpilling and infighting. The right is far more divided than before Charlie Kirk was taken from us. Every day we spend fighting each other is a day we're telling the left that violence is how they win." And Matt Walsh, who has been very much on the side of saying, guys, we need to just unite, we need to put aside our differences and focus on dealing with the progressive left. Matt Walsh has been saying that. He works at the Daily Wire. He's what's the word? Presenter. And he said, this is correct. And I want to show you, by the way, a response to this by Seth Dillon, who is the head of the Babylon Bee, a conservative-leaning comedy news website, because they got into a whole debate here. So Matt said, this is correct. Everything that's happened over the past 2 months has signaled to the left that assassinations work. Take out one of our leaders and we'll start eating each other. That's the message we've conveyed loud and clear, and it puts us in serious danger. They aren't going to stop now. Someone else will get taken out in the not too distant future. I'm very confident about that. And Andrew Colvert, who works for Turning Point USA, said, I pray you're wrong. But Seth Dillon said as follows, I couldn't disagree more strongly. Charlie's voice was amplified 1,000 times over. Churches filled to capacity. Bibles flew off the shelves. The message to the left was clear. Try to silence our voices and you'll only make them louder. Resort to violence, you'll only motivate us to speak the truth more boldly. There have, of course, been efforts to muddy this message. They've come in the form of outrageous conspiracies targeting Charlie's friends and family, and the rise of hate-filled white nationalists who saw a crack in the door, a door that Tucker and friends chose to fling open instead of slamming it shut in their faces. If the goal is to preserve the health of the movement, we'd all be unified in rejecting the hostile takeover. Instead, you're scapegoating those of us with the courage to speak out, setting us up to take the blame for future leftist violence. This is what I'd expect you to do if, instead of seeking to defend our movement, you hope to see it subverted to the point of self-destruction. I can't for the life of me understand it. The greatest gift we could give the left would be that to let bad actors and bad ideas gain more influence unopposed. They will trounce us if we let that happen. That's the danger you're putting us in by not joining the fight against the right's self-destruction. Now, Seth Dillon actually posted something which I thought was fascinating. It turned out that Matt Walsh actually wrote something to the complete contrary to this message that he's giving now. And I want to find it for you. Have a look at this. This was back in 2017 when you had the whole Charlottesville far-right protest. Matt Walsh wrote this. He said, I want to say a few things in light of the situation in Charlottesville today. First, to the Nazi and white supremacist losers marching around with tiki torches and throwing the Nazi salute, I condemn everything you stand for, everything you align yourself with, everything you say, everything you believe, everything you do. You call this rally Unite the Right, but you are not a member of anything that even resembles the conservative cause I've spent my life fighting for. You are the bastard children of a cancerous movement our country defeated on the battlefield 70 years ago. The last vestiges of it died on the noose at Nuremberg, praise be to God. Nazism was sent to hell, where it belongs, and you will join it there if you do not repent. Of course, I realise that you may not care about the Nazi or white supremacist cause at all. You're just looking for attention because you're sad and lonely, you've never had a girlfriend, okay, or a job outside of Reddit and video games. But that does not absolve you. By the way, he's very harsh in the way he speaks, but whatever. Let's just let him speak in his own terms. If anything, it makes you worse. Taking up Nazism as a game because you're bored is even more demented and vile than taking it up because you're crazy enough to think it's true. Whatever your motive, you are wrong. You are not one of us. You are nobody, and nothing you feel, think, or say while you carry a swastika flag is valid. Second to Antifa and the rest, I've already made my position known. You are no better than the Nazis on the other side. You are two sides of the same coin. You deserve each other. You are each other. I draw no distinction between you. Third to my fellow citizens who do not wish to take up the cause of either group. I ask that you pray for our country, pray that God performs a miracle and awakens our culture before we take the last dive into chaos and total collapse. Pray that God penetrates the dark, confused hearts of those who are so desperate for purpose and validation that they turn to white supremacy or leftist anarchism. Pray that you and I may resist the urge to respond to all of this barbaric behaviour by becoming animals ourselves. Pray for our children who do not deserve this culture we've created. Pray for us, ourselves who do. Just pray before it's too late. So that is such a different stance, a different tone to what Matt is saying now. And the question is why? Why the change? Perhaps because the Overton window of what's acceptable political discourse has shifted. And as a result, people who are on the right and have a right-wing base feel the need to shift to cater to their audience. But that's not moral. That's not leadership. Seth Dillon wrote further, defeating the left requires standing firm against the radical race-obsessed right. Anyone calling for unity right now, for all intents and purposes, is an operative of the left. If you speak out now, you'll be vilified and shamed. Your life will be threatened. Do it anyway. And Frank McCormick wrote, a leftist killed Charlie Kirk in cold blood, admitted to it, and was turned in by his family. This was a slam dunk opportunity for us to go hard on the ideology and rhetoric that led to this movement. But we let snake oil peddling influencers point the crosshairs at Jews and Israel, and because some didn't want to punch right, we let their voices dominate the discourse. Those of us who called this out months ago won't be held responsible for the civil war that could have prevented it. It prevented if those with real influence had told people like Candace Owens to shut the hell up instead of pretending she was some great ally or asset to the movement. This is what happens when you don't police the crazy within your own ranks, and that's absolutely right. The vast majority of Americans, I would imagine, would look at this kind of politics with horror. I would imagine. And certainly from an election winning strategy, it's insane. But forget that for a second, election winning and practicals. The most important thing is morally. What are you pushing? What's the point of being in politics? I want to show you a video that I put out recently about this whole issue of, speaking out. And is it cancel culture to call out people on your own side? No, it's actually necessary. What's the point of being involved in politics if not to try and make values become part of your society, to actualize those values? And if you're going against bad values, why should it matter which side of the political aisle is saying them? You should call them out wherever they are. They always say country before party. That means you put values above supposed political allegiances. And this notion also that, we don't want to lose them. If you can't call out bad ideas because it's on your own side, you don't have influence. You don't have a political cause. And this idea that, we have to understand that they are just craving, conservative leaning ideas and values, and maybe that's why they're going to an extreme, but if we shut them out, then we'll lose them. No. Give them reasonable, moderate, moral, conservative standpoints and views. And that should be something that can attract them and call out the immorality, the bad stuff. And if that turns off some of them, what are you going to do? Agree with it otherwise? And frankly, actually, a lot of them, if they see you being firm and clear, that should speak to their masculinity. Because good masculinity is not about grievance culture, blaming people, pointing the finger. It's about taking responsibility. And in doing that, they will actually respect you. If you're a teacher in a classroom or a parent and you've got a rebellious child, a wayward child, is the answer to, I don't want to lose my influence over them, so I'm not going to call them out. I'm not going to tell them why they're misguided. I'm not going to have a conversation with them. Obviously, that's not the way. The way is to stand up, to guide them, to speak the truth. And they will respect you for it, because deep down they crave direction. So it's a really important moment right now for the whole conservative cause on the right. And It's so important that they make the right decision. So anyway, let me show you the video that I made about this whole topic recently, because I think it really cuts to the core of it all. There's a big debate raging right now on the conservative right in America. It's all about whether it's cancel culture to call out people on your own side. It started after Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes, a man who's openly praised Hitler, mocked Jews, and peddled hate. Tucker gave him a soft, fawning, unchallenging interview, unlike Tucker's interview with, say, Ted Cruz. And when conservatives criticised that, suddenly the cry from other conservatives went, "Oh, here we go again, cancel culture." But hang on, why is it free speech when Tucker speaks, but not free speech when people criticise him? You can't have it both ways. This isn't cancel culture, it's moral clarity. Politics is supposed to be about values, about truth, right and wrong. If you can't call out bad values when they come from your own side, then what exactly are you defending? And honestly, what are we even saying? That no matter what someone says, no matter how evil an idea may be, if they're on your side, you must stay silent. Come on, that's not loyalty, that's moral blindness. And let's be clear, calling someone out isn't the same as cancelling them. It doesn't mean banishing them from public life. It just means saying, those ideas are wrong. That behaviour is beneath the standard we should expect. That's not censorship, that's accountability. That's what a healthy culture does. If your definition of cancel culture is criticising someone I like, then what you really want isn't free speech, it's immunity from criticism. Accountability isn't cancellation. Condemnation isn't censorship. It's the immune system of a moral society. Because if we only defend truth when it's convenient, we don't actually believe in it. So no, denouncing evil isn't cancel culture, it's integrity. A quick message. We all hear about the Palestinian displacement, or Nakba, of 1948. But you know, there was another, even greater displacement that we haven't been told about. Nearly 1 million Jews were expelled from Arab lands at the exact same time. Watch the trailer for our new and absolutely essential documentary called The Real Nakba. And if you want to watch the full film, just click the link below in the video description. We've all been told about the Nakba, the Palestinian catastrophe of 1948. Around 700,000 Arabs were displaced. But here's what you're rarely told. That displacement didn't come from some Jewish plan for genocide. It wasn't Israel's goal. It wasn't Israel's desire. It happened because Arab leaders launched a war of annihilation. They tried to wipe out the newborn Jewish state, vowing to drive the Jews into the sea. And in the chaos of that war, people fled. Many because their leaders told them to, promising they'd return after victory. But the term Nakba was originally used to describe the fact that the Arabs lost the war, not the displacement. Now the term describes the displacement of war used as a political weapon against Israel. But you know, there was another Nakba you haven't been told about. A catastrophe rooted not in the fog of war, but in the clear, deliberate desire for persecution and genocide. It happened at the very same time, and it led to even more displacement, yet most of the world has never heard of it. Over 850,000 Jews, more than the number of displaced Arabs, were driven from their homes across the Arab world. Communities that had thrived for millennia were uprooted overnight. Families stripped of citizenship, of property, of dignity, assaulted, expelled, forced to flee with nothing but their faith. Why? Because they were Jews. Because Israel dared to exist. Because the Arab League openly orchestrated it, drafting plans in 1947 to freeze Jewish bank accounts, seize property, and intern Jews as enemy nationals. This is the real Nakba, a catastrophe born of pure anti-Semitism. In this JTV documentary, we'll journey country by country, from Baghdad to Cairo, from Sana'a to Tripoli, uncovering buried truths and survivor voices. And no, this isn't a tale of victimhood, it's a saga of endurance, courage, and triumph. Because the Jewish people didn't just survive this Nakba, we rebuilt, we came home. In Israel, our phoenix soared from the ashes. So buckle up and let's dive in. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.